Xabi Alonso is about to kick off a new era at Real Madrid, but since he's been at the club and since he's taken over training sessions, both at the Club World Cup and now in pre-season, one thing I keep constantly seeing and hearing from players, specifically the Real Madrid first team players, is that Xabi Alonso is very, very involved and very, very vocal and very, very intense. He is a tactical manager who knows what he wants and wants to make sure that his players fully understand and grasp what they need to do and what their roles are. Real Madrid have not had a manager like him in maybe 12 years, maybe 13 years. The last manager Real Madrid had that was anything like Xabi Alonso was Jose Mourinho way back in the 2010 to 2013 season. And I'll explain what I mean in a second, but first let's go over the list of managers Real Madrid have had since Jose Mourinho. We had Carlo Ancelotti, we had Rafael Benitez, we've had Zinedine Zidane, we've had Julian Lopetegui, we've had Santiago Solari, we had Zidane again, we had Carlo again, and now we're at Xabi Alonso. Oh, and real quick, a little disclaimer before I go off. This is not saying that Carlo Ancelotti and specifically more so Zinedine Zidane aren't tactical. Of course you're tactical and of course you know what you're doing if you're winning 3-peat, or in Carlo's case winning 3 trophies over, what is it, 4, 5, 6 years in the Champions League. Of course they know what they're doing, and more specifically Zidane, but I wouldn't consider them as tactically involved and as intense to their formation and their pattern of plays and their positionings and their player roles as I would say a Mourinho or a Xabi Alonso is. But also, let's remember that both Zidane and Xabi Alonso are students of Carlo Ancelotti. Of course, they've had various teachers, but before Zidane kicked off his managerial career, he was Carlo Ancelotti's number 2, and Xabi Alonso spent a long time, or a fair bit of time, playing under Carlo Ancelotti, where he learned a lot. And though I don't want to go through every manager they learned from, I think it's relevant to point out that Xabi Alonso also played under Jose Mourinho and definitely learned a bit from him as well. Now let's get into Mourinho and let me explain what I mean. Before Mourinho, Real Madrid spent many years, I don't know how many it was exactly, but many years not getting past the round of 16. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Real Madrid getting through the group stage only to get knocked out in the next phase of the Champions League? Because that is what was happening regularly before Jose Mourinho at Real Madrid. Of course, afterwards, we spent a massive fortune on that historic, phenomenal summer where we signed Cristiano Ronaldo and Kaká and our current manager Xabi Alonso and the young Karim Benzema, among other players. And things did change. But they didn't just change because of that summer. They also changed because of the arrival of Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho was a different kind of manager. He was intense, he was strict, he was on top of players, he had a system he wanted to play, and he gave players positions and roles that they needed to understand. Jose Mourinho didn't even care if your name was Cristiano Ronaldo. He told you what to do, and if you didn't do it, there would be an issue, and there was. Because at Real Madrid, one of Mourinho's issues and one of the reasons he ended up leaving, even though Florentino Perez was a big fan of him, was because of the issues he had with Cristiano Ronaldo. But Jose Mourinho changed Real Madrid. A lot of Madridistas, myself included, give a lot of credit and a lot of props and link where we are today and all the Champions League trophies we've won under Carlo Ancelotti and under Zinedine Zidane to Jose Mourinho's time. Because he is the one that installed that winning mentality into the players. Don't get me wrong, having players like Cristiano Ronaldo definitely helped. But Mourinho and his style and his management and his tactics are what changed Real Madrid and turned them into monsters. It was under Jose Mourinho that Real Madrid developed a style of play. Under Jose Mourinho, we became the counter-attacking team and the counter-attacking monsters that even to this day, even today, we are known for. So even today, we are known to be that team that on the counter-attack, on the break, we are a threat, we are a problem. That started under Mourinho. And Mourinho didn't succeed in the Champions League, but he succeeded in breaking Real Madrid's little mini curse that was going on. Thanks to him, instead of getting knocked out in the round of 16 constantly, we started getting to semi-finals. Of course, that one run where we were unfortunately knocked out by Bayern Munich on penalties in the Bernabeu still haunts a lot of Madridistas, but Mourinho set a new precedent. Now Real Madrid were semi-finalists. Now Real Madrid were the team to beat. Now Real Madrid, not a team to beat. Bayern maybe were the team to beat, or whoever won the Champions League those years were the team to beat. But Real Madrid were now a threat. Now they were a problem. And it was also because of Mourinho, we have the record La Liga points total and goals scored total that still stands today. I think it was Real Madrid who got, no, they definitely got 100 points, which is the highest points any team has ever achieved in La Liga. But they also scored, I think it was 121 goals, which is a ridiculous amount of goals. But they are both the record for a team in La Liga. Now coming back to Xabi Alonso, I see a lot of Jose Mourinho in Xabi Alonso from what I've heard and what I've seen. He is a tactical manager who plans on having game plans, who plans on having his players understand roles, understand their positioning on the pitches, have patterns of play, and Real Madrid finally, after a very, very long time, what is it, 12 or 13 years, have a style of play. I don't think it will be the counter-attacking style of play that Jose Mourinho had. I think it will be a lot more possession-based, push the opposition team back, give them no space to breathe and dominate the game type of play. But it's still something that Real Madrid have not had in a very, very long time. And personally, I am very, very excited. I cannot wait for the new league season to start. And I cannot wait to see what Xabi Alonso starts doing, how his ideas start evolving, and where Real Madrid go from now when we start the season off and then up until December when we hit the roughly midpoint of the season and he gets a much better understanding of his team, and then we start to fully understand where he's going and get the final form of what the team will look like for the remainder of the season. Just to conclude things, there's actually a lot of similarities between Jose Mourinho joining Real Madrid and now Xabi Alonso joining. But I'm not going to go for everything, and obviously it's not going to be the exact same. But one of the notable ones that I thought of is the fact that a senior big player of the squad who's still very, very much involved in games, like Raul back then and Modric recently, was let go, and a younger superstar in Ronaldo or Mbappe, were given the previous player's number. Like Ronaldo got the 7 off Raul and Mbappe got the 10 off Modric. So there are a few similarities, and that's one that I really thought was kind of weird. But at a time where Real Madrid, I'm talking about last season, looked very, very lost and looked miles behind teams with systems and teams with ideas, I think we are perfectly set and in a place where we require a manager who's going to give us an identity, just like Jose did all those years ago with his counter-attacking football. Now we've got Xabi Alonso who's going to give us an identity with his 5-back and possession-based football. But anyway, I'm going to call the video there. Thanks for watching and peace.